Excellent.
We are live, madam.
Excellent. Welcome everyone to the Corporation of the Township of Bonnechere Valley Committee meeting on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. It is 1:32 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda? I see none. Could I have a confirmation, please? Moved by Merv. All in favor? Excellent. Is there any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? I see none. For those of you watching, Councillor Patrick will just be a little bit late. At this time, I need an approval of the minutes to get it on the floor. Moved by John. Errors or omissions? Looks good. Excellent. All in favor? Thank you. We have no delegations, so at this time, I will turn it over to Sandra with our budget presentation and 2024 financials. Take it away, Sandra.
Where do you want me to put it out there?
Yeah, because then people on YouTube can see it, right? Excellent. That's perfect.
(2025) budget presentation. So the municipal budget has a tax levy increase of 5.31%. The total municipal revenue and expenditures for 2025 is $9,746,955,000, of which $4,282,588 comes from taxation. The remaining revenue comes from grants and municipal fees. And for every additional $40,000 in expenses, the levy increased by 1%. The township will also collect taxation of $2,410,467 for the county of Renfrew and $920,360 for the Ontario school system, for a total of just over $7.6 million. And there were many factors that affected the 2025 budget. So the overall assessment growth is the sum of all the assessment changes that happened to the tax base during the year, based on changes to the property that affect its value, such as new construction, renovations, demolitions, and appeals. And the overall assessment growth for Bonnechere Valley for 2025 was 0.94%. The weighted growth assessment increase for Bonnechere Valley is 0.3%. So the taxes generated from new assessment are a source of new revenue for municipalities and reduce the levy increase. The overall residential tax rate increase for Bonnechere Valley will increase by 4.77%. Residents will see an approximate overall residential tax increase of $35 per $100,000 in assessment on the Bonnechere Valley portion of their tax bill. And the budget will see an investment in almost $2.8 million in capital investments. So taxation revenue, $4,302,588. Payments in lieu of taxes, $37,500. Penalties and interest, $120,000. The Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, $1,609,200. The Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, $499,000. Our recycling grant for this year, $100,000. Canada grants, $142,101. Other grants, $1,748,768, and we will be bringing $193,500 in from our reserves. And then revenues by department: fire, building, and bylaw, $98,000; admin revenue, $190,500; CEMC revenue, $1,200; public works revenue, $20,000. The Canada Community Building Fund, $322,198. Environmental revenue, $175,000. Arena revenue, $126,400. And rec revenue, $61,000. For the total revenue of the $9,746,955. And then the pie chart is just representing different revenue sources by percentage. And then the next pie chart is just showing the different grants and the percentages coming from the different grants. And expenses. So general government, $1,143,313. Council, $113,894. Protective services, $1,209,017. Transportation, $5,548,041. Environmental, $538,600. Rec and culture, $558,543. Planning, building and community development, $162,938. Arena and Eagles Nest expenses, $472,609 for a total expense of $9,746,955. And then the pie chart just representing, again, a breakdown of the expenses by the different departments. And then this is just a breakdown between what we're going to collect on the tax bill that'll go to schools, the county, and then what BB will keep. And the 2025 capital projects. So the connecting link is $1,879,500. New sidewalks on the connecting link, $120,500. McGrath Road repairs, $425,000. Macaulay Mountain Road guardrails, $20,000, and the Bell Street sidewalk, $54,000. The new crosswalk for Patrick and Wellington Street, $27,000. Roads Department half-ton truck, $80,000, and the EV vehicle and charger, $173,043. For a total capital projects of $2,779,043. So just to recap, a 5.31 levy percent increase, a 4.77% residential tax rate increase. That's all.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments from council?
No, that's exactly as you said it.
I
done.
did ask Councillor Patrick earlier if he had any questions, knowing he'd be a little late. He did not. Again, I know that this isn't, the ideal 3% that we would have liked, but I think that we did it extremely well, especially considering the capital expenditures that we're putting out. And I know a lot of them are covered by grants and or our modernization fund. But again, I think kudos to staff for all their hard work in bringing us this budget, and congratulations to council for getting through it so efficiently in less than a full day. I am going to break protocol here and just ask, because it's up right now, if the media has any questions on the presentation.
In the capital projects, I don't think I saw the fire truck. So is that next year's?
Well, it's covered by, the one that we're getting this year is covered by insurance.
Okay, so it would just show up on next year's budget.
The other one will show up on next year's, yeah, when it's delivered in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, but the one this year is, well, it's not free. We have a deductible,
Right.
but it's, yes.
Okay.
And
No, that's it for me.
this was probably also done prior to the fire truck. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't want to dump staff in it, but I knew the answer. This presentation was done before we knew what we were doing with the fire trucks.
Oh, okay.
We didn't know if we were buying two.
Right.
We were still waiting on insurance, so there were a lot of what ifs. But we can add that in actually, that, fire truck delivered next year, just like the plow truck.
Well,
Good
it does
catch,
kinda-
though.
It does kind of cancel itself out.
Yes, it does.
So.
Yeah. Nothing else? Wonderful. Were there any questions then on the financials? Did you want to touch on anything, Sandra? You
No, I
also had
just
your report.
wanted to point out that the draft financials for 2024 were provided to you in your package. And we'll be looking for approval for them tonight.
Tonight, yes. Were there any questions on the financials? Again, I asked Brent if he had any and he didn't. I think our auditors do a stellar job with the help of our staff again. Once again, I think 2024 put us in a great position. And even the financials that Sandra's provided us for April 2025 so far, I think that we're looking fairly good. Did you want to go through your finance report now, or because I think if nobody had questions on our audited financials, we're good to go.
Okay, yep, and
Thank
then, did anybody have any questions on the April 2025 provisional budget report that was included in your package? Okay. So on May 2nd, we received our second OSIF payment in the amount of $81,735. On May 6th, I attended a webinar with OMERS on changes to the management of our pension plan. They're making it easier for me.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, in a year, but it's coming.
But they made it easier, but they made you sit through an 1.5 hour long webinar.
Yeah, well, because the changes don't really kick in until 2026, so it's going to be a kind of weird transition. So on May 8th, the CIO and myself met with our bank relationship senior managers. It was a very good meeting. They pointed out a few things for us. And then as well, for the 2020 budget purposes, I also, if you read in my report, pointed out, I just don't want to read the whole thing.
No, you're all the unfunded,
Oh, yes,
and we have a resolution for tonight for the unfunded amounts.
yes.
Did anybody have any questions about the unfunded
But going back, OMERS is,
pension plan?
okay, so that's for our staff employees for Bon Jour Valley.
Yes, sir.
And it's part of a bigger picture that includes the province.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Thank
It's
you.
for Ontario municipal employees.
Thank you.
It's a biggie.
I might have known
It's
that.
not as big as QB, but it's big. Were there any other questions, especially on the unfunded amount? I see none. Good job, Sandra. And was there anything on our finances thus far this month or this year? I see none. I will move on to our CAO. Take it away, Annette.
Okay. So before I even get into my report, I just really do want to say thank you to Sandra, who really worked on this budget. She had a lot going on in her own personal life with her own stuff. So between getting the financials to you today, getting the budget to you today, and dealing with all of the other things, really huge thank you to Sandra. We're very lucky to have her.
Here, here.
Yay. And why is that, Sandra? Because we're awesome, right? That's what Sandra always tells me, because we're awesome.
So, yes, so my report, staff have been busy, opening things up after winter, finalizing reports for the province, getting ready for lots of projects, events that are getting organized, lots of things for implementation in 2025. So, we've had some staffing issues where you've seen in the paper that we've been hiring new people, and we continue to try and keep up with all of the things, especially with the weather, because it was a late spring. So it feels like we're racing against time now, because even though it's beautiful and everyone's like, oh, normally all this stuff is done by now, the problem was we had snow right up to the end of April. So and we've got events in May and things happening in May. So it's been a lot for staff, but everyone's working very hard to try and get as much done as possible. So please have some patience with us. If there is something you think we need to get to that we didn't get to, we are working as fast as we can.
But I also thought it was funny that on social media, people were complaining that the roads were dirty, and I'm thinking, but Enbridge and Bell are ripping up all of our.
Yes.
It's like the dust, the dust. I even said to our project manager, I saw him at an event, and I said, between you guys and Bell, you've really dug up the village of Egan.
Yeah.
So again, people have, normally our street sweepers out, sometimes the fire department goes out, cleans off the bridge, but when you're in the midst of construction and let's be honest, we live in Canada, we have 2 seasons, right? Winter and construction.
Yeah.
But I think once some of this is done and the new banners are up and I think it'll look great.
Yes, yeah, so I mean, we're glad that they're moving forward with that because then when the connecting link does get done, hopefully everything will then
Exactly.
be brand new again. And yes, we ordered the banners, so we haven't received them yet, but even when we do receive them, it's, you know, it's hard to be hanging banners and doing things when there's so much equipment and stuff going on out there. So
Yeah,
the village and, you know, all of Montreal Valley will look beautiful as time goes. We're
And-
working towards it, so.
and there'll be a continuity of color and
Yes.
all the rest of it, as everybody saw in Kevin's report, the
Mhm.
cruise booth and.
Yes.
I didn't get the call to go and help paint, by the way, but. Yes, John.
And when you look at all of the fellows of my generation who are out there with their coffee cups, it's like a parade. There's a lot of entertainment value in what they're doing.
All right.
Even that police car with the lights flashing.
Oh, yeah, yes, there'll be no crime committed in downtown Eganville. That cruiser's been out there day and night for a week.
Yeah.
Sorry,
All good.
please continue.
And we've had, you know, we've had a few breakdowns. You know, we've had some replacement vehicles we didn't expect, but we've also had breakdowns between our, you know, our garbage truck, our street sweeper,
Yes.
different things like that. So we, you know, it's been a challenging month, but we're getting through. And lots of meetings, right? Because the recycling transition is still happening. So we have another meeting coming up for that, to prepare for 2026. So, still in the works there, as well as, working with some collaboration with Algonquin College for municipal employees. Sandra and I met with the Fairfields board, and Sarah and I met with Richard Innes, who checks in once a year, every year, to see how our tourism strategy is going.
Oh,
And just wants to have like a half an hour, 45-minute meeting just to, you know, what
Good
can I
for
do to
him
help,
to-
where are you at, you know, so that's a very nice relationship that we've built up there.
well, funnily, one of the things that we talked about was the continuity
Yes,
of
yes. Yeah.
of the, like, colors, branding, all of it. Like, branding is very important, and he'll be very excited when he hears about the announcement at Gerald Tracy Park.
Yes.
That'll be very exciting.
Yes, so we continue to touch base and, you know, that's another, you know, study that we had paid for and isn't sitting on the shelf. We got funding for it and we've definitely been using it. Lots of other things, going on, still gonna look at, trying to apply for John Street again. The EV charger, still working towards that. We're waiting for one more quote to come in, which was supposed to come in on Friday, but didn't, so we followed up again this week, so hopefully it'll be here. So I'd like to get a final report to council for June. I did do, first aid training for mental health in Pembroke, which was, I have to say, was fabulous. That a lot of us take first aid training for medical reasons, but there are a lot of mental health issues, and although, you know, you're not a doctor, you're not going to say, knowing sort of what first aid you could implement when dealing with someone with a mental health issue is very good training, and I really appreciated the course of treasurers.
That's interesting.
I've never heard of that, and that's
Neither
such
have I.
a brilliant course.
It
yes.
really is, it
Well,
really is.
Especially, I mean.
And then, of course, just Sandra and I went to the Zone 6 meeting. We met with our asset management consultants. Enbridge is ongoing, of course, with their projects. The election group is meeting every month now, because that's coming up. And then, of course, there are other things going on with the clerks too, which I'm teaching tomorrow. And also working on presentations for the upcoming conference in Windsor.
When do you get work done?
So, AMO delegation request. So this is
Yes.
perfect that Councilor Patrick is here now. Because I wanted to propose some minister delegations for the AMO conference and sort of have a conversation with council to see if these are the ones that we would like to ask for, or,
So I'm going to preempt one.
okay.
Energy, I believe I'm meeting with the associate minister next Friday.
Mhm.
Fingers crossed. So I'd like to leave that on, but can we see what my discussion yields?
Yes, because next Friday, because the delegations are due May 30th.
May 30th,
And
that's what
your next Friday, 24th.
Yeah,
Or
no,
I
the
thought you were the
30th,
30th,
yeah.
so that we won't be able, like, well, yeah,
Are we limited because
Yes.
because we're limited to 3, correct?
Well,
Or we can split it in, right? Because we have like previous transportations, we've done, I think, 2 or 3 in
Mhm.
one.
Okay.
Correct?
so I don't wanna sink another township in it.
I would never
But we
sink another
followed,
township.
we followed the rules and only do 3, but then we found out that other townships were doing 3 and 3
Mm.
and 3. So,
I really think though that like the infrastructure one for John Street,
definitely,
like would be 100%, like that's a no-brainer to me. Because it's
Okay.
kind of hitting that point, because ever since I've been on council, and I'm sure actually your first term,
absolutely,
they've been probably talking about doing John Street. so-
100%.
And especially, we had a good, especially with her video with Amo last year,
Mhm.
it just rolls quite nicely.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just think it makes sense. We had good momentum.
Okay, so the ones that, because it'll be Annette and I,
Mhm.
my biggest ones would be transportation, or sorry, infrastructure, finance for that 1.76 arbitrary HST that we talked about during budget on that one project. It would have saved us basically a point on our taxes,
Mhm.
and Sol Gen.
Does infrastructure cover the John Street things
Yes.
you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so that's. good.
Yeah.
Now, can those be disguised as one?
No, so those would be the
The
3
Three, okay.
I would ask to be put in first.
Yeah, I think those 3 are your strongest candidates for it, because we talked about the HSD previously, and then yeah. That
Okay,
makes sense. And
so-
then the policing just makes sense, because it's a massive part of our budget, especially when you talk about your reductions that you saw this year, like if you had if it, say it doesn't happen again, or it's not retroactive, for example, then it wouldn't really
Well-
make sense.
It was $77 million, so
Yeah.
I think it behooves us to ensure. And in fact, I would say it might make sense to invite other elected from other municipalities to join in that delegation. Anyway, those are my 3 top picks.
So 4, 5, and 6, and
4
6 could be joint.
Yes.
Okay.
Municipal affairs. I would love to get to Minister Flack and or PA Smith prior to the end of the year, because I am terrified to think, for lack of a better word, that they will roll out strong mayor powers to every municipality. And I'd love to get to them before that. And I think that I've spoken to this issue enough that I feel like I can speak to it pretty confidently. I know that some of the the mayors that have just recently been granted it have used it and not necessarily for building. Well, none of them have used it for building yet. But I think that I've got some examples that I can use about how it's possibly been used correctly, and in other places it hasn't, bless you, it hasn't been. I feel confident in that one. So if we were going to do 3 more, I would like to do 1, 2, and 7.
So MMAH on strong mayor.
Yes,
Well,
So you
one,
don't think they're gonna back off on this?
I don't know.
but I would say, like one and 2, 100%, because we kind of continuously lobby that one over every
Exactly.
single year, and it's just a good one to keep in, because when you stop is when nothing happens.
But the reason I've left 3 out is that Annette is suggesting that we do a joint with Renfrew or Laurentian Valley, Pembroke, Madawaska Valley. So why don't we ask them to apply for those? And now that we're on YouTube, they're gonna know my evil plan.
Well,
no,
no,
why
it
don't we-
makes sense.
Yeah, why don't we allow them to apply? But though, that would be my priority, and the ones that I feel very confident speaking. I mean, Annette always does amazing briefing notes, don't get me wrong. But when I get in the room, and Annette can attest to this, and I guarantee you, sometimes she's sitting there going, please stay on script, please stay on script, please stay on script. But those are the ones that I feel most confident speaking off the top of my, like, not having to read my notes.
And the Solicitor General one, you're gonna ask other townships to join in on
I-
your delegation, is what you're looking at?
Yeah, I think,
So you wanna do all seven or request all
I
seven?
want, no, I wanna do all six. And then give somebody else,
Oh, sorry, yes.
sorry, number three,
Okay.
if
and-
that's okay.
And then number seven, are we doing that joint as well, or just 6 and 3?
We can do that joint.
You have partners in mind for,
Actually, I could ask one of the strong mayors if they'd like to join. Ooh, that's a really good idea.
How many strong mayors do we have in Renfrew County now?
Including Pembroke, 9.
Okay.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, including Pembroke, 8. But there's also South Algonquin that has like 1,000 people. And, yeah,
And there's nothing that you've told us or that I've read about that suggests that it's not gonna happen, that it will come all the way down.
there are concerns circling. That's all I can say. There's no confirmation. When this round came about with 169, we were, AMO told us when the 47 previous were done, this isn't the end. So now now it's about half, because you've got to take, of the 444, you have to take off counties and regions from the 444. So now you're talking about whatever it might, call it 210. And we're at half, sorry, 410. We're at about half that now. So there's nothing saying that the rest won't, that they might just say, whole province, you've got strong mayor powers. And this is something that I feel so strongly against. Once again, and it's not democratic. We were not elected to be one person. If somebody has strong mayor powers, then why do we have a council? Some of the ideas behind strong mayors are so ridiculous. If you'd like to watch something very interesting, Renfrew actually hired a solicitor to go through some of the legislation. You can watch it on YouTube. It is worth the watch. It's actually a bit scarier than I thought it was going to be. I'm really not in favor of it now. I understand. Look, I'm just gonna say it. As a mayor, I have it made. I have a great council. We have amazing staff. We're so lucky here in Bonnechere Valley. But that's not always gonna be the case, right? You could have a mayor that comes in and says, I'm the mayor, and that's it, right? And I've always said, when being the mayor becomes who I am and not what I do, there's a problem. And I feel like strong mayors, that's exactly what they're doing. So that's my rant for today. Sorry, I got off on a bit of a, but I think that Minister Flack needs to hear some, and not yelling at him and not sending resolutions and letters. I think somebody that he knows needs to sit down and say, this just doesn't work. It just doesn't work for small, and it may work in Toronto and Ottawa and London and maybe even Hamilton, but to base it on the amount of councillors as opposed to population, that's not the way to go.
No.
Yeah. And I know that some of my colleagues have basically been lied about, saying you obviously asked for it, you were consulted about it, which is simply not true. So if we're good with those, I'm excited.
okay, so number 3 is easy because we only have so many partners, so I can send it to those and see who wants to take the lead.
Okay,
Number 7, I'll work with you to find out who you want to do joint with strong mayors.
I would like to ask Mayor Mayville from Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards. Because I think he would be the best, right? He's a mayor of, call it 2,000 people, 7 people on his council. He was sort of raked over the coals. I'd like to give him an opportunity.
For the policing one, we can work on who you want to do that with jointly. Because I know, like, other than Deep River, it could be anybody.
Okay, what I think I'd like to do is go through the list that I sent to AMO, that fateful Friday.
Mhm.
And see maybe 2 municipalities in the county that were as affected as we were.
Mhm.
But that being said, I mean, they were affected and then taking part of their partnership fund. And then what was left over for that $77 million fund,
Okay,
I'd like maybe the two other hardest hit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, you're just gonna go off your spreadsheet.
Yeah, because, but I'll go off my last spreadsheet that I took into account their increase in partnership fund. Partnership fund is for OPP. Okay, but none of us were fully well, that's not true. There were a couple that were fully compensated around the province, but in the county of Renfrew, nobody was, except maybe Head Fair Mariah. But,
Well, they gotta
Yeah.
get, they gotta get something. Head Clerk.
I know, right? Absolutely. But those, yes, so I will get back to you on that. Maybe
Yep.
even on our break, I'll look at my spreadsheet. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Northern Wilberforce might have been one of them.
Mhm.
Look at me throwing all my colleagues in the dirt. I'm like, let's just ask Mayor Mayville and let's ask James Rose.
okay,
Okay,
sounds good.
and do you want to touch on Bill 5 and Bill 17, or do you want me to?
Well, I mean, there's information in the package under correspondence for that Amos put forward.
Yes,
They're huge bills. There's a lot going on there.
yes.
If there's something more that you have, I don't have any
So
real
again,
comments other than I feel like there's regulations coming under those that are gonna be more telling than the policies themselves. But you go ahead. That's all I have to say on
ditto.
She says so much with so few words.
Yeah, so the devil will be in the details,
Yes.
especially of Bill 5. So they're going to say, we're downgrading the ESA, and then they're going to say, oh, but wait, there's more. So I don't want to jump off any cliff about the Endangered Species Act until we know. Now, they're asking for comment, but I'm not even sure that we're qualified at this table to give comment. I think that we've been living with the extended ESA since 2014.
that. Sounds right, yeah.
Does that sound right? When they took it from, a list to a major list. And so we've kind of been
That's when they went to Habitat, right? Not
yes,
just
yes, thank
Habitat,
you,
Yeah.
thank you. I think that was 2014, weirdly.
Yeah.
But we've been living with it for so long. Again, I'm not sure that we're qualified. I think actually a developer would be better qualified to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be greater this. Anyway, I think the devil will be in the details. So I'd like to hang tight on both of them. There was some information from AMO. They are on it. They are submitting, so there you go.
Yeah, wait and see. You have to read the details of anything. It's like when you see this big, like the United States is always famous for it. They make like it's like big infrastructure building like that. Well, it usually just costs people more money. It doesn't help anything, doesn't build anything. Look at their EV grants they did like 5 years ago in the
Yeah.
States. Didn't build any EVs or anything.
No,
It's just a big, beautiful bill and all that, so. It's like, and it's like, you have to read the details on, and actually see what it is. If the focus is to like develop more and stuff like that, I think everyone's on the same page, but it's like, well, what actually is changing? Who's it getting downloaded to? 'Cause that's always a concern on our end. And so I think it's like, we're just gonna have to monitor the county end of it in all
I
fairness.
agree.
Because that's where the spearhead's gonna end up being, and that's the part of having tier 1, tier 2 on that.
But I also think that there's a happy medium with the Endangered Species Act and habitats.
Mhm.
I think that, years ago, Merv's famous line was, I haven't seen a whippoorwill since I was, 5 years old or whatever it was. And now whippoorwills are coming back. So I think that there is always a happy medium to any legislation. So I don't want to go half-cocked one way until I think that we'll figure it out.
Well, I think it's good that they're reviewing it. I think, yes, perhaps there are some things in the endangered species or archaeological or different things in development that need to be looked at and perhaps went too far one way or the other on. But when you're saying you're looking at amending it, you're looking at doing something with it, but you're not telling me what you're doing, like Brent said, who are you downloading it to? How's it going? It's pretty hard for me to make a comment. Yes, grateful that you're looking at it. But when you do the regulations, can you send that? I mean, that'd be the only comment I'd make. When you're actually writing the rules for the policy, can we have a look? Because And that's where AMO, FCM, Roma, the Waste Association, all of these associations, are
That's
so-
what we're there for.
are so important because it's, but yeah, when I read those bills, I'm reading like a high level document and I'm going, okay, I see that you're looking at this. Do I have concerns about you looking at that? No. But what are you going to do with it? Maybe I have concerns. Maybe there's something I think should be changed, but it's pretty. Like how, I don't really know what you're looking at to be able to say, yes, this should change,
Well, I think it's it's all your approach nowadays for anything. It's like, that's why I always say you have to wait and see. The thing is like, if the approach is to develop more, build more, make more housing, make more supply to make things cheaper, hey, it makes sense. And then you just have to review it and be like, well, what is actually getting changed? Maybe
Yeah.
nothing, maybe it's
Yeah.
just a bunch of stuff, or maybe it has gone too far and look at development times and timelines and road developments and highway constructions and everything. You're like, hey, you know what? Canada's got a serious problem. And if we want cheaper everything, cheaper roads, cheaper life, well then, you know what? We should be reviewing policies, and it's not a negative just to review something. And that's why I'm just I'm open-mindedly looking at it and saying, you know what? We'll see what the details are and then we can judge it effectively.
And I think one of the things was when the ESA and and Habitat at Risk came in, it was so heavy-handed and included so much that it was the studies in order to build that were cost prohibitive. So you wanted to build a home, but you had a potential whippoorwill and you had a potential wetland. And the two studies before you broke ground were $17,000. So using that as an example, I think that's, to your point, if we want to build homes faster and less expensive, then
That's
having,
that 17 grand is off the top. You have
Exactly.
no interest calculation, you have no draw schedule, anything. So you look at it and be like, okay, well.
And
It makes sense, especially rural, like we don't have a lack of land in Canada.
and you can't mortgage it, and it's
No.
not gonna be part of your construction loan.
Exactly.
Right? So there are so many things. So say you have to have 20 grand off the top if there might have been
But
a
it-
whippoorwill spotted by your home.
But the thing is, and then that's what you're saying before now, so we have to wait for the details to come out, so consulting is like,
Yeah.
well, here are our concerns, we just wanna see if this is the goal is to do this, then we'll review it, obviously. But I think everyone nowadays we have to just look at it and be like, let's wait and see if it.
With a
makes sense.
measured
And then,
response.
yeah, exactly, people are like 0 to 100 nowadays for no reason, just wait and see.
Look, at least AMO has their hands on it,
Yeah.
unlike the policing, right? Where they didn't even know. They knew when we knew.
Well, and that's what I said, I think it's a county-led initiative for it.
Oh, yeah,
and
so
like-
do I.
Well,
like-
yeah, and the section that's talking about making all road designs, they want to have a standard road design across the province, which is interesting. I know we have classes, I know we have maintenance standards. The problem with a road design, depending on what it is that we live in a very diverse geography, like topography. So I mean, listen, I'm all for when they were talking about the wartime homes and they were talking about, here's all of these designs and you don't have to pay for a design and you can just go and build this home and
Right.
here you go. If they're gonna give us designs for our roads and we can use those and then we don't have to get an engineer and it's gonna save us money and it's gonna help us build roads faster, then that's great. The problem is, how are we gonna know that that design is applicable because it's sand, it's clay, it's rock, it's.
Exactly.
So it's, there's floodlands, there's so many different things happening.
Weather.
Climate, yeah, so I just,
Or
Absolutely.
too clean of asphalt.
I'm not, yeah,
No,
I'm not opposed to it, I'm also not for it. Because I don't, like, what kind of design, are you saying that all roads that are of this class have to be this wide? All roads that have to have this
Yes.
grade, so then our engineers don't have to worry about grade or width or whatever, this is standardized, this is what it has to be. So that maybe will save us some money, but there's gonna be some things in there that are not going to be. You're not gonna be able to make that across the board.
but to your point, this is no different than teeny tiny homes,
Mhm.
right? Teeny tiny homes with lesser insulation or nowhere can, whatever environmental
Mhm.
might work in southwestern Ontario,
Yeah,
But like how
but
many,
they're not gonna work in Deep River,
but how many kilometer roads do we have in our municipal?
512.
So we have 512. So the thing is like, we're talking about like roads and your standardization.
Mhm.
You'd be able to take, if you had a standard, say, road development or anything like that, you look at our 512 and see which ones worked in our community for the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
yeah.
And
Wait a
then,
minute.
and then you can be reflective of
Hang
that.
on, do we have 512? I live on 512.
We
Yeah.
have 500 and some, I think it's more than five
It's
twelve.
like five, it's like 508 or something.
Yeah, I wanna say
Yeah, it's around-
580 some, but
yeah.
I was gonna.
No, it's all,
No, I think it is around, we'll ask Jason.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
but
it's,
no, that's all I was
Setting
getting at, is it's like, it's a common sense approach, because I think nowadays is that we do have an overabundance of consultation, over reporting, engineering. And the thing is it's really up to your contractor and it's up to us to really put a stick on it and be like, oh yeah, that grade doesn't slope properly on one side. It's a common sense approach, I think we have to go back to, these stuff's too expensive nowadays.
no kidding.
Like, no question about it. Look at her, I was saying that to Mayor earlier, look at her dump truck that we're gonna potentially purchase
Yeah.
compared to what we purchase it with.
No, plow.
yeah,
Or plow, I mean,
Plow.
yeah, yeah.
like, it's no different, right? So,
And that's really the only, like, when I look at the high level of
Yeah.
this huge bill, that's all I have to say is maybe. Yes, all of these things, maybe support, maybe don't, depends on what what's your
Absolutely.
plan? But hopefully, it's all gonna be to the good.
it's like,
And,
it's like
yeah.
years ago, and that they did a big overhaul of the landlord tenant act and
Yes.
nothing really changed.
Okay,
So-
all right, well. So,
Anyway, I agree with Annette. I think looking at them is fine. Anyway, so you've got your the two, other items that are housekeeping.
yes, so there were some shoreline documents, and some bylaws passed in 2014.
Mhm.
They never got registered, nothing ever happened. And I guess whoever went to go and register them now and decided, oh, geez, we never got this land cleaned up, let's go ahead and do it. And they were not legally described, correctly, so, yeah, just rescinding and repassing the bylaws that were passed back then, so we
Yeah.
can move forward with their shoreline. And then the second one, and I did attach that to schedule, just so you could see, like, it really just, here was the area, and if you look at the two, the shape just kind of moved. But
Yeah,
it didn't really change anything, but it does change slightly. And so we have to have when we pass the bylaw, and this bylaw hasn't come to council yet, it is
Mhm.
planned for this meeting, but because there's a slight change, to what was reviewed at the public meeting, we have to make a statement, that council is comfortable that the change is not significant and doesn't change the, the
And
zoning
this
bylaw.
specific
then-
one has been, it's been a long time to
years,
make it,
a
right?
decade.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, than what was intended.
okay.
So, as you can see, it just, the shape of the property is, instead of like this a triangle, it's more like this a triangle. But other than that, the zoning's the same.
Yeah.
The area is pretty close, so.
Well, they might get some closure out of it.
Unless,
That's right.
yes, unless you feel it is significant enough, that's the statement that I need from council. It is not significant enough to have a second public meeting, which is
Absolutely.
the recommendation.
There'll be
from our
less
partners.
paperwork in the future, which is just
Yeah.
nice for everyone.
So, and then I'll just quickly look at Sarah's report. And
Okay, can we just take a moment, please, to thank Enbridge?
yes,
My goodness, so. Enbridge, I'll do this publicly. Well, first of all, it's really nice that parents can come to the tourist booth on Saturday, June 28th
Mhm.
to meet and greet the swim
Yep.
people. But I want to thank Enbridge for their donation of $6,750 for the bouncy castles on Canada Day, which obviously saves on our budget. Thank you, Enbridge, for being such a good steward and helping out with Canada Day. And we were also successful, yay Sarah, in receiving $6,000 from Celebrate Canada, which we have never, ever done before. We've never received that much before. So I jokingly said before the meeting, that actually picks up the 11,000. It more than picks up. I asked Sandra to redo the budget, but she wouldn't. But I'm sure that we'll find ways
I
to.
do apologize for missing your budget presentation though, Sandra.
It was riveting. She was
You can
amazing.
watch it on
I
YouTube.
was disappointed, actually. I figured it would carry in a bit more, but you
Well,
know.
maybe if you went
You're
on
just
the phone
getting-
with the mayor for an hour and a half this morning, maybe your site meeting would have gone faster.
That's all right. It happens.
All right, yeah, so I just think that is such amazing news. When you have somebody in your community, working in your community, doing a project, and they're willing to invest in your community. So once again, yay, Enbridge. And I wish I was getting it at my farm.
I think Enbridge just recognized that we're worth it
We are worth it,
so much.
yeah. And I'm so glad that it amuses you with your coffee in the morning.
And so Sarah is just requesting, because she had a $500 budget for her crafts and games for Canada Day. And so she, because now more fireworks and the bouncy castles and all of that are going to be funded through other sources, is requesting an extra $250 for crafts and games and prizes.
Getting very
and such.
organized.
Just spending.
That girl's no slouch.
I know, right? But she knew when to strike when the iron was hot. She's like,
What?
I just got over 12 grand. Can I have $250?
Yeah.
Yes, please. The best one was when I asked her during budget about the youth summit, and did she need a bigger budget? And she said, well, I did it for $60 last year.
So she is putting a little bit more into having a contest for the logo this year to
Yeah.
get more youth involved. And
I
so
love
to
it.
get some excitement around it, so that is there as well. And I think the banners. 11 for Jill Tracy, church photos, she's still working away on those. And finding applications there. I think that's it for her report, and I'm trying to think if there was anything, Erica listed the various licenses and the marriage licenses and the planning and zoning applications. Oh, I do have to mention though, that when she did this report, the county planners were gonna be in as they usually are on the Wednesday. Something has come up. We only had one person on the list, so we did call them and move them, ask them if they would move it to the Thursday. They said yes. So it will not be June 4th that they are here. It will be June 5th.
Okay,
So I did have to mention that. And I think that is everything that I had on my report.
Well,
yes, John.
So just a clarification, 11,000 in total coming from 6 from Enbridge. Where was the other?
Oh, no, sorry. It's $12,750.
Okay.
$6,750 from Enbridge and $6,000 from Celebrate Canada from the feds. And normally we get like $1,200, $1,700, so $6,000
it's-
is amazing.
No, it's really appreciative too, because this year too, we did do the rock climbing and the bouncy councils and that did cost like more significant. So I'm really curious to see like if there's a different dynamic at the arena as well, where it's all
There might-
explained
yeah.
and stuff, because we do have more this year, which is really nice.
Perhaps next year we'll replace those fireworks with drones,
Oh,
dancing drones.
if I knew that we were getting this, too soon, John, too soon. If I'd known that we were getting that grant, there would be drones flying on Canada Day. I would have fought for it.
I definitely would have been passing that
There would have
motion.
been,
I would have asked for a recorded vote on that one.
it would have been so good, because with that kind of money,
I like the old school fireworks.
Oh.
They've worked in
I
Asia for.
all right, I just can't help you, I'm sorry.
We'll put
All
to a
right.
vote.
Annette, thank you so much for your very comprehensive report. I think we'll do well with those delegations. All right, so I'm 5 minutes late, but Daryl Verge is not coming, correct?
Correct.
Excellent. So I'm right on time with Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I planned that. How's everything recreation? I didn't get the call to come and help you paint,
Oh, well.
but I will tell you, it looks
It does, yeah, I know it
fantastic.
turned out well.
It turned out, the door turned out way better than I thought.
Yeah,
It's eye-catching now, as opposed to the red that kind of blended in. It's I love it. And the holder of the new sign looks phenomenal as well. So thank you for making that happen. But I had my paintbrush. I was ready to come and help.
We didn't have many sunny days, so.
No.
We'll put her on the second bridge with the county to cover up that graffiti. It'll be a
Oh.
easier bridge.
Anyways, my arena rep report, the Arctic Winter Games, you saw that was a great,
Yeah.
great turnout, real good turnout.
Thanks for the photos too. I love getting photos.
Well, yeah, it was the first time I saw it too, so it was interesting, lots of different,
Yeah,
little games and that, so. Throat singing was pretty neat too. So that was a good turnout, Eagles Nest, we have, you can see the bookings in May, we've been pretty busy. Tourist information booth, the signs, the colors. Question with that is, so with that sign, how do you want to do that for like the Gerald Tracy sign?
you know what? I asked Annette the exact same thing. So because we're gonna be at the band shell to start, do you want to have it at the band shell and carry it up and let Gerald hang it? Or do you want to just hang it and get a photo with it? Like,
That was the discussion, was that we would just have it at the band shell with it.
Yes.
Over it, unveil it, take a picture with it, and then we hang it up.
okay, let's do that. Done. Nobody's gonna get lost. We know where, you know.
Yeah, it's too long to travel from.
I agree.
Shell over, so. Looks good.
See, at
okay.
first I thought we were gonna start at the gazebo and then when we talked about the band shell, that made a lot more sense. So no, I think that's great, Kevin. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the Legion Field, splash pad will be going up the end of the in June, so
Question,
yes.
can we have the Legion Field crosswalk and arch and building done for Legion Week, which is September 21st?
That's September 21st, that's doable for sure.
Should've told him it's July.
No.
No, I know, I knew just from your report, and I didn't want to bug you about it at the last meeting. But seeing as Gerald Tracy Park is coming up on Sunday, now you freed up some of your time. So now can we start ordering stuff for Legion Field? Jason's killing himself laughing. He's like, go Jen.
So that was September. what?
So it's September 21st through 27th. I just thought that what a lovely, so they always do the kickoff of Legion Week on the Sunday.
Okay,
And I thought, wouldn't that be lovely before their opening ceremonies, if we had, or do their opening ceremonies there and then walk down to the Legion? Wouldn't that be nice? I'm just trying to think of how to organize it, because I think that it deserves a big deal made out of it. I want to make sure that all the Legionnaires that normally would be at the Legion at 2 o'clock on a Sunday, if we could organize it maybe for 1:30 on Sunday. I just think it'll be lovely. I'm really looking forward to it. But if September works for you, then I'm happy.
yeah, that will be definitely on the calendar.
Thank you, Kevin.
The Opelika soccer is returning again this year. Legion Field's busy, it's starting right now after the May long weekend, minor ball, soccer and the Little League from Pembroke with some local kids that are playing, they're practicing here for May, June and July, so they've already pre-booked the field for Wednesdays and Fridays.
Awesome.
McCray Park, the water turned on, maintenance and all, and same with the village. Planter boxes won't go out until June something.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
the weirdest weather.
Usually don't put them out usually till the first or second week of June, and they'll just watch the weather, so.
It's a shame they're not gonna be out for this weekend, but at the same time, it's fine.
Yeah, it's, well. Opelika Park, just maintenance, and same with Formal Park, just the maintenance of the ball diamonds or the playground and that. So that's pretty much the end of my report. Any questions from council?
No, and then I guess for the Foy Mountain Park, because we scraped a lot of like the old. What are our plans this year for it, or was there? Like for like, where the old basketball court, I think it was. like,
Yeah,
all the
once,
asphalt.
once, we go back up there with the backhoe, we'll scrape that, clean that back
Yeah,
up.
you'll scrape it back
Yeah.
up. Oh, okay. No, I'm
Very
just curious
curious,
because I
yeah.
know it was utilized and
Yeah.
stuff, so it's just, we
Yeah.
opened it up, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
At least we're maintaining it, so.
And also we have a new net for up there and it came in last week, so we have to put up new tennis
Oh,
nets,
that's
so.
great.
So it's,
Good.
getting a new net up there, so putting a little stuff to it, so. Make it,
Sounds good. When do the pickleball nets go out then for,
we actually,
do we
We-
put them out or does
we put the net out, and
Okay.
the lines are already painted, so just a
Okay.
matter of, we'll get the nets out here and.
Okay.
And the lines are painted, so.
nope, that's good.
I was asked about the splash pad before the long weekend. And I said, we always aim for around June 1st or thereabouts. And I thought it wouldn't have mattered if that thing was open this weekend.
No.
Holy cow, it's cold and rainy
Oh, the hail.
Yeah.
and hail.
Mhm.
We were ready to go to the basement. It got green.
Anyways, that's.
Thank you, Kevin.
Worked out.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Kevin.
Working on ice in the summer.
Okay, we'll do Jason quickly and then we're gonna take a break. Happy Public Works Week.
Hello, everyone.
Can you please wish all of your employees a happy Public Works Week
We'll do that.
and thank them for all their hard work all year round?
Sure. So we have conducted our interviews. We've hired a new operator. He will be here. It was supposed to be the 3rd, but his scheduling got changed, so now it'll be the 10th. We have hired a summer student. We started already on the 5th of May. And we'll have the other summer student by the end of June when high school finishes. The Wayside summer hours have started and they've started on the 17th. The household hazardous waste was also opened up on Saturday. And you were quite busy.
I have no doubt.
It'll be open only Saturdays 9 to 4 and it will close on September 27th.
People have been literally hoarding their stuff all winter, not throwing them in garbage bags. That's a success, I'm sorry.
Oh, I have like 2 big cases just ready for it.
No, seriously, that is a huge success. That people aren't throwing stuff out.
Yeah.
That they're waiting until the May 2-4 weekend and they're doing what they should do.
We had actually lots of calls throughout the year since it was closed. If we were gonna open up one day a week or. But with the
Like
regulations.
it gives you an alternative that wasn't there like before, right?
That's for
Which is
sure.
just really, which is good. It does give you that because there's lots of places to store it.
Yes.
It just makes it, oh, it's nice.
No, we had one day a year in July.
Yep.
And every year that weekend would go by. And Dave and I would go, we missed it again. You had all your paint cans, right? Terrible.
So the Snowdiffer site is also open Monday to Thursday, 8 till noon. And that will commence through till August 28th, and then from there it'll be just one Thursday till I believe it's end of October. I'd like to request a change in the operating hours at Ruby Road Waste Site from one till 3 to 12 till 2.
Yeah.
It just gives the tenant time to get over to Sand Road.
That makes perfect sense. 100%. Is everybody okay with that?
Aye.
Staff direction? Okay. That makes, I don't know why we haven't done this earlier.
It was, I think it's a good change anyway for everybody.
Yeah.
It'll be a while for everybody to get the times right, but. well,
Don't worry, they'll
Yeah.
phone.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Did you know that our waste sites weren't open yesterday?
Yes. I did. There were signs even put up.
I know.
Hopefully you didn't get too many calls.
You wouldn't even believe it.
The winter sand tender closed. We had 3 tenders which was really good. My recommendation is, Ralph Zell with the amount of 85,142.24. Which actually came under budget,
It did too.
which is good,
Our budget was 90, right?
yes. The tender closing for the hot mix on McGrath Road. Came in and we had 5 tenders actually for that one. So my recommendation would be Greenwood paving for the amount of 347,744,117. That's including HST. Now it is also came in under. So I would like to also proceed with a few more meters to take it up to where we had budgeted for.
Absolutely.
Everyone's good with that.
If they're willing to fit a few more meters into our budgeted amount, make it happen
Okay.
instead of bringing them back.
What was the difference on the budget?
It was about here.
30. I have it here too.
50,000.
It's 425.
So we'd be able to.
But
get-
that was,
So we're just gonna.
This is
do
with
it.
a- this is with HST.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But my
So
budget
then
number was
we're
with
just-
HS.
So we're just gonna scan McGraw more.
Yes,
Right? Yeah, it makes total sense.
makes total sense while they're on site.
Yes,
Okay,
it'll just give us a little more area to cover where the road is starting to break up further from where the patches are gonna be.
Mhm.
fantastic.
The tender for the 3/4 ton double cab. It'll be closing on Friday, 23rd. The gravel tender will be closing on the 30th. The new plow truck, so. We've gone through the canoe procurement group.
Which you cannot do any better than. I'm sorry, LAS created Canoe. They have not steered any municipality wrong, as far as I know. There is sticker shock here for sure, but there was sticker shock at the county as well. So this is the conversation we had about fire trucks. They're not gonna get cheaper. And as much as it's ridiculous money. But it's necessary, but I will open it up to council for questions on this recommendation.
Yeah, so price came in at 439,930 plus HST.
And then that one's an automatic.
Yes.
The last truck was automatic as well.
No,
Or this
standard.
is the first automatic we
Yes.
got.
Their second.
Well, we have the
Yeah.
2012, which is an automatic,
Hmm.
and this one's gonna be replacing that.
Okay, that is the
That
year
is-
it is. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
that makes
So-
sense.
In my opinion, when you have multiple drivers, having an automatic is the only way to go. Because quite frankly, every person that drives standard drives it differently.
Yeah.
They shift differently, they clutch differently. If you have one driver on a car, I'm all about standard transmissions. When you have several operators, I think that automatic is absolutely the correct way to go.
Yes.
Also, I think that there is a safety mechanism here where you're not rolling up, rolling down, trying to shift, especially in a bad snowstorm. So again, the sticker shock was real, but
So if you're not familiar with the group, it's been helping communities for quite a while. It evolved into a nationwide network, which helps streamline procurement solutions, more than just being pricing. Canoe is found on the principle of the ensuring municipalities get what they need to serve their communities efficiently. The mission that the Canoe Procurement Group continues today. So I need a pre-approval for this to be for the dealership to go ahead and have this ordered.
I'm sorry, for a moment, I thought you were going to work for Canoe. They did an excellent presentation at county, and of course, we know through LAS because I'm on Roma, so we deal with them a lot, but yes, that was lovely. Go ahead, Murph.
Well, I was gonna say, look at the specifications you had to write just for the dump truck.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, for sure.
Did anybody have any concerns?
So this is a recommendation that we'll take to council.
Yes,
I would support it if Jason can answer a skill testing question. How many kilometers of roads do we have in
Oh, yeah.
Central Valley?
You want lane kilometers or do you want?
yes, lane kilometers.
500 and.
I said 512 and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, I live on
That's our
512.
home.
There's more than that,
588.
something like that, yes.
As long as the mayor is wrong, that's all we really want.
Yeah, I knew I was wrong as it came out of my mouth. That's
So we have just about as much hard surface as we do loose surface,
really,
yes,
that I did not know.
yes.
All right,
Well, until McGraw Road gets even more asphalt. Winning the ratio.
I
Well,
love it.
that's really good news though.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jason.
So,
And that whole moving of the wayside attendant, I literally don't know why we've never thought of that before.
Is there gonna be any concerns from the residents that use that facility?
I-
Or,
I think it's negligible, don't you?
I don't think there will be.
oh, no, just let us know if there is, obviously, but it makes sense for the transition
Yeah.
for the waste and time to go to the other one as
Yeah.
well. I just wanna make sure we're doing a disservice of time, that's
Yes,
all.
yeah, no, and like, there's gonna be people that are not gonna catch on to it right away
Yeah.
anyway, right? It's just more, I guess, for the cottages that are there
Yeah.
over the weekend, that wanna
absolutely.
leave right on the Monday.
Mhm.
It may help them out if they wanna,
Well, it keeps garbage out of the ditch there as well.
exactly.
That used to happen all the time, right?
Yeah. for
And it was amazing when we heard from those residents about closing that waste site potentially. And then I was speaking to one of your employees, weirdly at the dentist's office. And he was saying how busy that waste site is.
sure. Oh, yes.
So
Do you have an addition? Do you have time?
we do,
So the Macaulay Mountain guardrails,
yes.
there were only 2 companies that put in quotes. We couldn't find anyone else. So I think it's sole source. So my recommendation would be for Hughson fencing and guardrail in the amount of 17,048.99.
You had 20,000 budgeted, correct?
20.
20,
Yeah, 27 was the crosswalk.
That's right. The other quote that came in was
Doesn't matter, 17 sounds great.
because I did, do you have the 2?
But their specs were comparable.
Yes,
Well, that's fine, we approved that, at budget, and it's
Yeah.
only gonna help out that road, I drove it on the weekend after the rain, so. It's always good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You did?
I always drive out, I enjoy driving.
Yeah, that road though, I don't like where the guardrails aren't.
aren't?
Yeah,
But yeah, no, that's fine, so that's gonna come, I guess, tonight.
No, it doesn't need
No.
to because we redid our procurement.
Oh,
line.
it's
So
below the
it's within-
threshold.
it's
Yeah.
below the Threshold needed for council approval, but just, it's in the budget, but to bring to committee, it is a big amount of money, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
100%.
I think we all appreciate it, but it is
Mhm.
part of your budget, even less than your budget.
Then since you added another agenda, Jason, have you got any quotes for the crosswalk at Wellington
Yes.
St. Patrick?
Yes.
I don't need to put you on the spot for that.
We do have 2.
Okay,
There again, it was very tough to find people that installed.
yep,
So we're just waiting. There was a mistake made on the quote that we got at the meeting.
okay.
Okay,
So I have them redoing the quote
Mhm.
and we do have 2, so that'll be another for the 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have all
Excellent.
the information.
No,
for
no,
that.
I just wanna make sure it's progressing, it's very utilized
And
intersection.
It's gonna be more,
Yeah.
all the residents
Oh, exactly.
that'll be moving. Sure.
but your intention was to get it in before the school year
Yes.
starts.
Yes,
Excellent.
Well, that's the
Okay.
thing, because you only have them a month left, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. I assume that it wouldn't be in before the end of this term of school anyway, but if it is, that's fantastic.
I don't know what their schedule is for installation.
Either way, it'll be here for the, well, summer and fall. It's a heavily utilized area, so.
Yeah.
Nope, that's perfect. Appreciate it.
Any question?
No, but I sincerely hope you have a lovely Public Works week. We probably should have done something for them.
Well, Jason has about a lot of extra money as a budget right now.
He does. He
I'm sure it'll come
does.
with something.
See,
Maybe
We'll
buy-
slowly pay for the second truck, I guess, so that's good.
yeah,
Maybe council should buy them pizza on Friday from us.
It's fine.
I'm in favor of that.
Please.
will do.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. Please. Jim, Let's go.
Okay, we're back up.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. And now we're gonna do fire and CDO. Take it away, Daryl.
Okay, so we've had a rather busy month of April.
Yeah.
But as farther down, I am working with Hydro because I heard that we may be able to start billing back. And out of those 17 calls, 10 were Hydro calls. Down power lines,
Oh,
yeah.
wonderful.
So it's, I reached out to another chief in Huntsville, because I heard he's the one that got the ball rolling. I reached out to Hydro, have not received a response from as of yet.
All right, so much like when you do a call, an extrication on
Yeah.
Kings Highway or,
Yeah, I'm trying to find out if there is a formula or form we need to fill out, or it's just a statement we send in. Or if it's even viable, if it's even something.
How many hours would that be? Just ballpark,
It'd probably be at least an hour per call.
an hour, okay, so, but every little bit helps for your revenue.
Yeah,
All right. For your recoverables.
yeah, sure. So with the junior firefighter program, we've been kicking around different ideas of what to do, whether to start a second night, it seemed a little daunting. So we do have some kids that are graduating this year. So what we're doing now is, this is the way we're gonna roll it out. We're gonna do a bit of an overlap when the kids are ready to step out, and then bring the kids that are leaving to take on like a mentorship of doing what's coming in.
Oh, I love that. Do
So,
you guys like that?
And yeah, so this is how we're gonna roll it out. So I have more applications. I'm asking them to be patient. I don't want to end up with 20 kids out there. We're probably gonna cap it at 15.
Yeah,
And we'll just have to, this is how we're gonna roll it out. There is one gentleman, he's gonna be 18, and he wants to roll right back into the department. So,
okay. When I read your report, I didn't understand the mentor, it's just the way I read it, not the way it's worded, it's fine, but I really like the idea that your outgoing class is your mentors for your incoming class.
yeah,
Because I think that not that you're old, but it's nice to have your peers
right, exactly.
as your mentors. Very nice.
Well, it's the best way to learn.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
and I love in block letters, recruitment is always ongoing.
Well, it is. I mean, it's, we do have 5 new that are coming on. So
Okay.
we increased by 5.
Maybe have your information officer do a drive on socials. And
For more recruitment. you mean?
Yeah.
We're trying to do it in blocks, so we want to do like a spring recruitment drive and then do one in the fall. Summer's a little different because everybody's so busy.
Yeah.
And that way, if we get 5, we're gonna bring them in right away, get them in through their first 5 chapters.
Yeah,
Because this dribs and drabs throughout the year. So we're just trying to block it all.
Kind of one
together.
class, pretty much.
Yeah.
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 I think that makes
Nice
sense.
to see the interest.
I was just thinking of another recruitment drive on socials because even at an event I was at this weekend, it's amazing how many new people we have in this area. And, much like me, when we moved here, I did not realize that it was, and I hate the word volunteer, and Daryl knows I've been trying to abolish the word volunteer for 15 years, but I didn't realize that we had a paid duty fire department. And I wonder if others don't either. And I know that sounds like a really stupid thing not to know. When you're moving to an area, you should do more research. But I think that if your information officer could put, and I know she's watching, so hi Lorna. If Lorna could put out maybe more of a, we train, this is our fire department,
Yeah.
your real firefighters.
Yeah.
Maybe a different tact on recruitment. I'm not sure how to go, but just standing for an hour in an event, I'm amazed at how many new people we have here.
So, and one of them is actually from Foymount, so our numbers increased from 1 to 2. So it's a start.
It is,
It is a
and you're
start.
keeping a pumper up there,
Yeah.
so I think that's great. Yeah,
And speaking of the bumper, so it is written in stone. The first one will be here by September of this year. So,
fabulous.
I asked them 2, 3 times. I said, make sure, because I'm gonna be taking this. So I said, make sure this is accurate. He said, written in stone.
Okay,
I said, okay. And the next one will probably be because they've increased their production area, their lines they can get more out quicker.
Okay.
So he figures February, March of 26. Seconds.
That's actually pretty good timing.
Yeah,
It's good timing for our budget too, to budget,
yeah.
for our loans.
And you've seen all the warranties I attached. There was a lot of them.
Yeah.
When I opened up this package and it was over 200 pages, I thought, why on earth is this package over 200 pages? And I knew that our financial statements were in it. And then I got to the Allison transmission warranty and the roll-up door warranty and the I tripped and fell warranty.
Yeah.
We didn't need all this. You could have just put it in a chart. However, I do like the battlefield warranty, that 2-year right off the jump warranty.
Yeah.
I did appreciate reading that.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the Detroit and non-Detroit, because I don't know, are we buying a Detroit or a non-Detroit?
It's a Detroit engine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was also very happy to see that it's an Allison transmission,
Yes.
because they are without a doubt the best built transmissions in the world.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe outside of Volvo. But no, seriously, but they are the transmission to go with,
They've been
so
around for years
have they ever?
and they, yeah.
But no, all joking aside, I could have used less, but thank you for letting us know what all the
Well,
warranties.
I never thought about just putting them in the chart, but I figured if you.
You
wanted-
didn't?
No, I
You
didn't. I
didn't
just
say-
started sending them all.
We didn't want to read the 90 odd pages of warranty. For those of you watching, no joke, he's got
For 17.
the portable containment, roll-up doors, transmission, Freightliner, Battlefield.
There's 17 warranties on the truck. So they cover it from stem to stern.
And we got everyone.
That's right. So
But maybe Daryl, if you have a moment, just put them in a little chart so that you have them, so that
I
you
have them all
know.
here. They're going in the file with the truck.
You're gonna check that VIN out too when you get it?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's good.
yeah,
And check the VIN for next year's one.
yeah.
Okay.
And once we go to the chiefs meeting, I'll be bringing that up to everybody else. Just something to be aware of.
I think it's a great PSA,
Yeah.
because why would you check?
You really shouldn't think you'd have to, but.
You shouldn't have to.
But we almost got caught, you know?
Yeah, but I think when you go to a car dealer to buy your vehicle, you know that that vehicle was born the year before.
Yeah.
But it carries the VIN of the year that it's in the
Service.
dealership.
Yeah.
So why you would think that it would be 3 years anyway.
Yeah.
It's dealt with.
Yeah.
We're happy, council's happy.
When I take it to the prior PAC 6 Zone 8 meeting in Kingston, I'll be letting them know now as well. So,
That's a very, very, very good idea.
hey, so that's it for fire. Any questions?
Hopefully you have no more fires and then that'd be good.
Can't control that.
That was heartbreaking. I stopped in on my way back. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was, that was a tough one. I mean, 1890 house,
Yeah,
balloon frame, sawdust in the walls, got in the walls, got into the roof. And steel roof, we wouldn't do a roof exercise. We, you know,
yeah.
had to wait for it to breach.
But you saved the house beside it.
Well, because it was a brick exterior, there
Yeah.
wasn't really any risk of exposure fires,
Except for the chimney.
except for the chimney. But the chimney, they typically stay standing. The whole house will burn around and the chimney will stay up. You have to knock them down with a hose. You usually get a 2.5 inch line and you just start getting at the rock.
Yeah, but on that side, the house is right
Oh, it could have
there.
went, it could have went the other way.
It could, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, I agree with Merv. It's amazing that the siding on both those homes, I mean, this one's a little further away,
Yeah.
but the siding on the side of this house was intact.
yeah, it was the smoke, when I was rolling up, the smoke was so low, it was on the street. I come up the hill and you couldn't hardly see anything, and I had my lights on and people were pulling over, but they were pulling over right in front of the house because they couldn't see it.
So I came through at about 6:15 that morning. And the smoke was so thick
Yeah.
on the top streets.
Yeah.
And I turned off my, the air coming in, I went to recycle, because it was that thick
Yeah.
on the road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, there wasn't even a low pressure day, which kind of surprised me, but
Yeah,
it
that
was
is.
a fairly clear day, but yeah.
Anyway, I did stop in and thank the firefighters and I spoke with the homeowner as well and. Yeah, but really, really, really. A sad situation. I did have something else to ask you about fire and now I can't think of what it was. It'll come back to me.
So, and as for building, again, they're coming in dribs and drabs. It's been. It's not just a problem here or an issue here, it's right across.
Mhm.
Some are seeing very much a reduction.
Mhm.
It's just the sign of the times, I think. We'll have to just see what happens.
Okay.
I mean, I think if, well, the ones I have in my office, when I get them completed in the next couple of weeks, that might be a 20.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's,
that's a lot.
but bigger money.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's another house coming in, I just got a call today, so, but the prices are. I mean, I think I was way off, I was kind of going to 350, 400
Mhm.
square foot, I'm being told now it could be up to 700,
That
750.
was in
Wow.
costs is maybe what's slowing things down.
Oh, I know what it was. How did the boot hold it?
Quite well.
Can you disclose the amount?
Well, I think it was just shy of, it was 15,900, somewhere in that range.
So basically the same as last year.
Yeah.
16,000.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So John Yakubuski was driving through and he had phoned me and he said, oh, I just hit your firefighter boot toll. So I was yelling at the firefighter, charge him double.
Oh, that's what they said. They said you were yelling something down.
Yeah.
the road.
Yeah, so I just happened to be on the phone with Yak when he was driving through. So then I knew, so I put some cash in my wallet because I knew I wasn't getting through the boot hole without giving him some cash, so.
You know, that's just a great recruitment mechanism, because if someone's new to the area and never been through the boot toll, it's one way for them to learn.
Yeah, and they do offer, I mean, I really would like to give some more information back to the public, even if it's, you know, about campfires and burning and just, you know, do some education as well. And you're right, if somebody's moving to the area and you're interested, that's a perfect time.
Yeah,
Say, just stop in and grab an.
Well, even for the, what a volunteer firefighter is at Montreal Valley, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, you might know, but Katie said she went through, I think you guys 2 or 4 times or something good.
Well, you don't have to, if anybody says they've gone through, so we're also thinking about a sticker that you put on your windshield that you come through one of the other areas.
Yeah.
And it's not like they stop people. If people don't want to stop, they keep going.
they just keep.
Oh,
going.
no, and that's how you always do.
Yeah.
We're a small municipality,
Yeah.
like.
I just think it's funny the people that try and take the top street and then they come around, but then whoops, they get to Conway's.
See that coming.
Well, okay, what she said, she's like, I gave some the first time, and when I came back the second, I made sure I kept enough change for the second time. I'm like, oh, that's good.
Well, just so that, I'm not sure if you know, that money goes to their association. It's not part of their budget.
And
And,
a portion goes to Muscular District.
Yes,
That's
Oh, that's
been, I
great.
started here in 2000, that thing's been going on even before I started. They used to do it on the bridge.
yeah,
years ago.
and then it got shut down
Who then?
by the OPB,
Might have, yeah.
yeah,
maybe.
for a few years.
Yeah, and then it started back.
And then somebody who will remain nameless reached out to the staff sergeant, and he said, yes, just don't get dead. So then you started it up again,
Yeah,
but
it just moved to the front. here.
it's a great team building thing too, right? It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun. The spouses get involved, the kids get involved. We don't call it child labor, we call it math skills, where they learn how to roll money.
Look, it's for something. That's
Yeah,
the difference,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
So, no, it's perfect.
Yay,
good.
thank you.
Okay.
All right, we will move on to correspondence A. Did anybody have anything in correspondence A? The AMO watch files, I know that we were being barraged. There was a lot going on. Now the province is back up and running.
Mhm.
And the feds, as you can see from FCM, and the new federal cabinet and our county council summary.
Mhm.
Did anybody have any questions?
Not on A.
Not an A? Okay, great. We'll move on to B. Number 1, the elected officials forestry tour on June 10th. Does anybody want to go to that?
No.
Okay, can you RSVP for me, please? So what they were asking for was just one email from each municipality. They didn't want each of us RSVPing. And I'm not sure that I'll take the bus, but I'll figure that out. I was going to offer to drive the warden
Okay,
and Rob if he wants to go, if he's able.
okay. I'll let them
There are a
know.
lot of us on the injured list
Mhm.
right now, including me, so. Okay, number two, the OPA. The resolution carbon tax. Exotic animals. No. Bill 5. Something I still don't understand, daylight saving, and it's not daylight savings time, it's daylight saving time. Nope, nope. I think we have bigger things to deal with. Salt management, I thought that was very interesting, but no. No, different, absolutely different geography than us. Grind sponsorship,
Nope,
Wyland Shore,
that was,
that's not, that should be an application for zoning.
I thought that was just an inquiry for, they just want information about
About-
shoreline allowance.
Yeah,
Was
No,
that-
they want to purchase, or lease, sorry, not purchase.
the
They
lease,
want to lease their shoreline.
Yeah.
But their shoreline is where the, water access is.
oh, I misunderstood that when they said beach.
Yes, no, so their
Oh.
shoreline is our water access off of Wyland Shore. And they would like to lease it, because you can't purchase it because
No.
of where it's, so, they are the property that abuts it. But I did have a conversation with the resident to say, you know, we sort of talked about it, and I said, you know, they have no intention of closing it off, they want it to remain open to the public and so on, and I said, well, so you're going to lease your shoreline, you're going to maintain your shoreline, you're going to insure your shoreline, but you're gonna leave it open to the public, so it would be a similar lease to what we have at,
Opeongo, yeah.
for that boat launch. And I left it with the residents to think about it, and they got back to me with the request, and yes, they still wanted to proceed with that request. So bringing it forward to council, I talked to both, Kevin and Jason. And, yeah, I mean, Jason's concern is as long as it's not closed or sold, because, you know,
Exactly.
we're still working on trying to figure out how and when we're gonna be able to do work on that road with our studies and on survey and all. We did the survey, we're doing, you know, we've got studies, it's there. So I said, no, we're there. I knew that, I knew we weren't looking to close and sell, but this would be leasing it, and then of course with Kevin, you know, it is open. It is an
Yeah.
open water access to the public, but they're not, interested in changing that. So, yeah, so the question is, if we're open to that, then to me, it would be a very similar lease to the other lease. And then we have to have a public meeting. I don't know how the property owners around there will
Yeah.
feel about that. So.
My apologies,
Mhm.
I thought if you're looking at the lake,
Mhm.
I thought it was to the right. I thought that's the shoreline that we were looking at.
Yeah, no, it's,
But it comes.
it's the one, yeah,
Okay,
they kind of connect as a T.
I thought that they were asking, how do I go about this? That
Okay.
They want to buy it or lease it, so how do I go about it? That's,
Yes, they want to lease it. Yeah,
okay.
is what they would like to do.
Can I suggest
Mhm.
that because we do want to do road work and we don't have a survey and we don't know where we're going,
Mhm.
could we ask these residents to be patient with us for now until we have a plan for Wyland? Do you think that's?
I thought we did, sir, did we not?
We have a
I-
survey.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
We have a
We
survey,
don't
but
have-
yeah,
Yes,
there's
sorry.
still more studies to be done
I
before we can do
misspoke.
anything there. Yes,
Yes.
correct.
Yes,
No, I would say, and I think it's very different than what our agreement with Obiango is. That was, it's a totally different arrangement in all fairness. One, like, 100%, I think they're totally separate.
I do too.
Because one's a boat launch, one's a water access, right?
Mhm,
That's number
correct.
one.
One's
And
also a
then one's
corporation.
a corporation, a commercial business that
Yes,
it benefits them to maintain it. We're here. But no, I would say if their intention is to leave it open to the water access, just leave it as such. So we would retain maintaining it. We'd
Mhm.
maintain the insurance on everything on it.
Mhm.
And especially because we have talked previously, we spent a lot of money surveying that road as
Mhm.
well. And it's gonna be a very expensive process if we
Yeah.
ever go that way, and we
Yes.
already know that, but I think it's our best interest to keep it for now.
Okay.
So I would say I'm not open to it currently, but
Now,
we can review
Yes.
it again next year if it's something changes. Yeah.
Okay. And I did let because I think the residents had.
I thought it was
concerns
on the right of it, so when you're looking at
So did
Wyland
I.
Shore, the road goes down, you hang your left there, I thought it was the, right
It's,
here.
it's all right, yeah, it's the T, it extends past the road this way and, yeah. But it
okay,
is where our water access is, yeah.
so you're looking at the lake, I assumed it was just that. Just, I didn't, okay,
But
Anyway,
either,
we thought the same.
either way, and that's what I would say, it'd be our
Mhm.
most interest to continue and maintain it.
but I also think that we've got a lot of work to do on that road, a lot of
Mhm.
different ideas. You know, we know it's not wide enough, we know that there are property boundary issues. I would prefer to postpone any decision. Because I don't wanna get into a place where they're leasing it, and they have legal rights, but we need to encroach on.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? All right,
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah, and their concern, I guess, was that that area that is maintained by the township right now, water access was going to be closed or something was going to happen to it. And I did reassure the resident that if
yeah,
the township was ever going to do, other than if it was, you know, used for widening the road or that, those types of purposes.
And-
If we were going to close it and sell it, that would be a public meeting.
Well, that's
And
what I was
as an
gonna say.
adjacent property owner, they would
Yeah.
get notice. So I did let them know that there's no, like, that wouldn't happen without them receiving notice. But that there was no intention to do that at this time, because as
Right.
you said, we are looking at doing work on that road. You know, will it go into that shoreline road allowance? It's possible.
I know,
So,
Well,
yes,
that road will be the cost of like 3 dump trucks, so it's not
I-
it's not a cheap process to do it, so when we do it, we have to.
Mhm.
but I always assumed it would go
Right.
down into where sort of the boat launchy area is.
Okay, so I'll just let them know that currently, right now, we're not interested in leasing it. Our intention at the moment is to continue to maintain it as it is.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
thank you.
thank you. All right, next, the email from Dean, sorry, that's sorry,
No, that's fine.
not Dean, his son Matt.
Mhm.
Matt Sorial with regards to Mr. Sell and his property on Clee Road. You're not allowed to speak. Oh, sorry. No, it's okay, Jim. You just sit there looking pretty.
That's not that easy either.
So the question, and there's a map as well, would we be able to chip in some cost towards the survey of Clee, and because the landowner obviously would have helped out with a bit of the road, so just there is a natural severance there, but that was the question. Comments, questions from council?
Well, that was the question I was looking at, asking myself, like, you know, how we're gonna do this, or. I guess I just didn't realize that it didn't follow any concession or side road, it just went through property, bingo.
Yeah.
Never saw that map, yeah. Went off through private property.
Nothing, no question.
Brent?
Well, have we ran into something comparable in the past, the net though?
Oh, yeah, there's
Because
lots.
because I'm gonna say previously, we've always we haven't pitched anything into it or anything,
Yes, that's correct.
yeah. So
Well, I think because it's precedent setting, right?
Well, exactly.
If you do
so-
for one, you have to do for
Cause I remember
all.
we had a pretty in-depth, I remember that was with a couple of the river properties, I think for. I think that was easements along a couple of the trails as well, different, but same thing, but no, I would say just keep it as status quo.
John?
So, yeah, I'm not willing, I don't think we should help with the survey, that's. Because we would benefit if things were clearer, but we don't benefit as an owner.
I think because we've had these requests, I mean, in my 15 years, probably 20 times.
Yeah.
And I think that we get we get mired in it, and then how do we help others? And where do we draw the line? I think that's the problem with doing for one and not doing for other. Right?
It's not a good situation, but that's the way it is.
What do you think about chipping in for the survey?
As we say, if you do it for one, you have to do it for them all, and there's a lot.
Yeah, and it's too bad because it would have been, at the time, probably the smart thing to do. But we have run into this before. So I will apologize to the landowner. But at this time, we don't have the budget for it anyway. It would have to be next year, which isn't ideal either.
Cause
Because,
don't talk along yet or what?
no, you're not allowed to talk. You have to be a delegation to talk.
So I will get back to, Mr. Sorial and let him know the council is open to, receiving the ownership of the road, which then creates a natural severance,
Yes,
but not in contributing any funds for it.
yes, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, we didn't make that clear.
I was pretty clear, but just making sure.
But don't bother telling Dean.
Okay, no, he doesn't even know about it. Well, maybe he does, he's probably watching.
I don't know.
I'm sure he does watch us every Tuesday
That
that we're on here.
was a funny error though. Request from the library.
No,
No,
love the event, love everything about it, but no, we won't be, but I would encourage them to ask North Algona for the money.
okay. Thoughts? The request from the library to help with their bouncies?
How much money is involved?
Well, they requested half, which was about $440. And then they said, would we pay for one, which would be $169. But we are doing our own, and again, much like a survey on Clee Road, we haven't budgeted for this. It's very tough to come mid-year when we don't have miscellaneous accounts in our budget. We don't have slush funds in our budget. We budget for exactly what we need, where we might have a little wiggle room, but we don't have a lot. And I think that, again, slippery slope. Then what if another organization wants us to chip in for bouncy castles? Now, I understand the library is absolutely funded by the two municipalities. But if this was something that they wanted in their budget, we needed to know about that a few months ago.
Yeah, and this is a really on other end, it's a very well-attended event and stuff, so we're.
It's very well attended.
Regardless, and the thing is be it we're no or not, I'm sure they can find sponsorships or requests or fund it as well.
Okay.
Because it was like, I went to it with the kids last year and actually it's a fantastic event and everything. But as I said, if this is something they want to carry into next year, for example, then that's a conversation that we need to have at the budget table. Because if it's gonna carry forward, I think this is the second year, I think they've actually done it, so.
And weirdly, the shade structure was being finished that day.
Yeah.
And there were so many kids in the splash pad, and I might have walked through the splash pad in my clothes because it was so bloody hot. But it was just that perfect area. I thought, isn't that funny that the shade structure is almost done? Like, what a great advertisement for it, so the parents know, oh, this will be available this summer. Yeah. Anything further on that? And finally, the closing of Victoria Street block party request. Thoughts?
I thought it was a good idea.
I think it's an amazing idea. I don't know where our invitation is to this party. My only request to the requester is I would like to ensure that every single person on that block that's going to be blocked in, because remember, there are gonna have to be blockades at both ends of Victoria, that every single homeowner is on board with this.
Consensus.
Exactly. Now, it is afternoon, so it's not a noise problem and it's not but still, I don't want somebody trying to get out to do groceries and their car is in their driveway and they can't get out.
Well, you have your middle.
Yeah, they can still sneak up by the old IOOF mall there.
It doesn't matter. You have to shut down the street, guys.
Yes.
You can't have honk honk. Like you could
Just out of curiosity, have you historically ever had a block party? I know like a lot of subdivision.
Oh, yeah, or
would do
cul-de-sacs.
one Or cul-de-sacs.
Cul-de-sac, yeah.
And stuff like that. No, honestly, I agree, actually. as long as everyone's aware of it
Mhm.
and good with it, I have no problem with it. I think any event where we can get people come out, interact, socialize, I think it's great,
Now,
so.
Are we willing, if they may come out and ask for a couple of barricades from the township,
a couple of what?
barricades for the township?
Oh,
Yes, I did
Yeah,
speak,
that's-
I did speak to Jason about this because originally they wanted it on the main, on the highway.
oh, yeah, no,
So discussion we had was to push it to the back street.
Mhm.
Jason will provide them with those two.
the Jersey bars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they will be on either side. There are, and we will of course have to post notice on 511 and all of that, so that ambulance, fire, everybody's aware that the street will be closed except to local traffic and emergency vehicles, local traffic being the people on that street who will all receive this letter that's attached to it, this council's letter and the letter that they sent around. So they will all be aware that it will be challenging to get out of your house that afternoon. So, and no one has, as of yet called to say, is this, that they have any issues with it. So,
You know where the best place for this is? New Jersey Bar on Jane Street, the two arena parking lots.
mhm.
And
we
I
did
think
have a discussion
we-
about Jane.
We did
Yeah.
do that one year, but it was at night.
Mhm.
And I don't think it was very well attended because of the weather. But yeah, Victoria Street's great, but I don't want anybody on Victoria Street upset that they didn't know about it
No.
or
yes.
that it has created a hardship for them.
Mhm.
You're only gonna have about, you have 8 houses, you gotta knock doors on that are on Victoria.
Yeah, there, it's only one side, which is kind of nice.
Well,
It's the north
exactly, you
side,
just got the
right?
hill, like, hey, you know what, travel the area, like, I think it's a great idea, and
Yeah, I just don't want anybody to be inconvenienced.
Mhm.
No, yeah,
Okay, okay.
but I want an invite.
Great.
All right, new and unfinished, that's all correspondence, there's no C, library update,
everyone got the package.
mayor's report, I apologize again, I am just starting to type. So I can't use AI to write my mayor's report, so it's gonna be a really long I've been to a lot of events, and it's been a lot of fun.
If you make them shorter, your hand would thank you.
I know, you're right, John, you're right. Yeah, no, it's been great. So we had a delegation, I was lucky enough to be the acting warden last Wednesday at the county. And we had a delegation about the Earth Day event that this group had last August. September, and with that came these postcards from some of our residents, and I'm gonna leave them on my desk and you can read them, but they're so nice. They're messages to the community leaders and local politicians about things that we can do or things that people want to create a more sustainable future, but some of them are just really well done. So there aren't too many, so I'll leave them on my desk here. And you can read them at your leisure. But we have some,
They're all the same?
no, they're all handwritten,
Okay.
yeah. And you'll recognize a lot of our residents' names on the back, and they're very nice. That's all I had. And then finally, the notice of the OPA for Lake Clear.
Mhm.
Everybody's good with that?
Yep.
Wonderful. So our next meeting date is June 3rd. Is that right?
Yep.
June 3rd. Media session. You're good?
Yeah.
You can always reach out anyway. All right. We have no closed, and at this time I'll ask for an adjournment. We'll get Brent on the minutes. All in favor, and we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Now, I should clarify, when I